Have quorum now, so we will go ahead and call the regular meeting of the Nome Common Council to order for Monday, July 27th, 2026 at about 7:01 p.m. by the computer monitors. Clerk, may call the roll.
Councilmember Johnson.
Here.
Councilmember Henderson.
Here.
Councilmember Green.
Here.
Councilmember Lust.
Here.
Councilmember Martinson.
Absent. Excused.
And Councilmember Miller.
Haven't heard anything. Unexcused. Absent.
We have a quorum.
All right, we have a quorum. Chair will entertain a motion for approval of minutes. They're before you in the packet.
Agenda.
Agenda.
I've got
Oh,
some
agenda.
things to add.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I know I did.
I went, oh, no.
Approval of agenda.
Make that motion.
Motion by Councilmember Johnson, seconded by Councilmember Henderson. Any discussion on the agenda?
I'd like to propose administrative typo on the minutes. It should be the July 13 minutes, not the July 27 minutes, which would be for today. So the original packet had the
Oh, yes, I did.
27th listed under the minutes instead of the 13th.
Right,
Just
July
saying that
27th instead
We
of
call it
13th.
agenda blind.
typo that needs to be corrected administratively.
Okay. Just a note, so item A is actually for July 13th. Okay.
I do have, I've handed out a couple things. This is the newer draft pull tab from the attorneys. Is Charles going to be on for that? But he's going to be on for, is that?
Yeah.
All right. And Nikki, I know we had a request, and this is the table. Nikki did come up with as best we could the contributions to other organizations that you had asked for. So you have those. Doesn't really need a place. It was really information from the last meeting. Next, I am asking for a new item to be added under new business. And it is a electronic communication from School Superintendent Ms. Burgess about a grant opportunity for security, which is awesome. We would just need today on that a letter of support. And if it is approved, as I understand it, we would then have to look at the appropriation of $150,000. But we'll talk about that as you get in the meeting.
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Mark.
So just to clarify, the issue with the poll tab information is just for informational purposes for this meeting. We're not intending to discuss it or put on the agenda. It's just for information for a future
Yes,
work
sir.
session or
Yes, sir.
something. Okay.
And I know some, we're not going to be here later this week. So I was looking at next week, early in the week. So
Okay. And then the second question is, you would like to add an agenda item for review of a
school, for support letter for the school system for a grant. And then if dollars are needed, if approved, the grant is approved, we would come back and the schools have asked for a contribution of $150,000 as a match to the $500,000. And it's for security improvements that Ms. Burgess showed us a few months ago.
So that means the total project funds would be $650?
No, it's $500,000.
Okay,
We're
so
making
the
a
grant's
match.
only $350 that we're having to match $152.
Yes.
Okay, that's a little different.
So, Mr. Mayor, under new business, I'll make a motion to add the school
We have under new business, you mean as an amendment to the
as an
agenda?
amendment to the agenda that we're discussing.
All right.
I'll add a new item for discussion of a school grant opportunity.
All right.
I'll second that.
All right. Motion by Councilmember Johnson to add an agenda item for the school security grant, seconded by Councilmember
Lust.
Lust. Thank you. Is there any further discussion on the amendments? Hearing none, may call the roll on the amendment.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Green,
Yes.
Councilmember Lust,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
That motion passed.
Thank you. And now on the main motion to approve the agenda as amended. Is there any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, clerk may call the roll.
Okay.
Vote.
Councilmember Lust,
Yes.
Councilmember Green,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Alrighty, thank you. Next item on the agenda is approval of minutes from the July 13th, 2026 Nome Common Council meeting.
Make a motion to approve.
Councilmember Lust, motion to approve,
Second.
seconded by Councilmember Henderson. Any further discussion on approval of the minutes for July 13th?
Mr. Mayor, one correction that I see is under citizens' comments, and the second citizens' comments, it refers to Trent Johnson making comments, and they're not correct. They list a name 3 times, which was never mentioned in any of the comments that were made. The city staff took the liberty to add a name in the comments. It seems like that should be correctly stated in the record. So if they could go back and listen to the video, they can do that. They can administrative correct it, basically. It's an administrative thing.
Okay,
We'll do that. Yes, sir.
I'll make sure that happens before I sign it.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion on the minutes? All right, we call the vote.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Lust,
Yes.
Councilmember Green.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, under communications, July 16th, 2026, notice for an application for temporary use of water related to the Nome Council Highway Permanent Repairs Project. It's pretty much information. Someone's got,
Just for informational purposes, right?
yeah,
It's
that's,
a state
yeah,
permit.
strikes me as being such. Next item under communications is July 24th, 2026, Homegrown LLC license renewal application. Again, unless there's a problem or an issue, a non-action from the council will allow that application renewal to proceed. All right, hearing no comments on item B, communications, and we'll move on to citizens' comments. Is any citizens wanting to make a comment?
Hello, Steve Longley. Still here from Nome. I heard last meeting, a couple of young ladies were chatting about me. For you that know, I've been parking over there by the Anvil City Park for 2.5 years now, 5 to 7 days a week. And all of a sudden, their house is like a block and a half away or something. I'm spying on them or keeping an eye on them. No, it's where I park. Nome Eskimo parks there. Scott seen me park there. Mr. Johnson seen me park there. Everybody in this room is probably seen me park there. That, it's just a good spot to park. I like looking at the grass. It's kind of insulting that, they think I need to keep tabs on another illegal cab company, for more or less. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I talked to Brad the day after he issued their permit, and they don't have their signs on their permit, so they're illegal. They still don't have. Now the city manager decided apparently that he's going to give them 2 more weeks to get their signs. City manager has no authority to have somebody violate your ordinances. You guys are in a perfect position now to get a legal cab company. wait until they're legal before you sign the frickin' permit. You know, it's not rocket science. So now you got another company out there, you know, check around for the last year with illegal cabs. I brought that up to you guys. You guys gave them time, which the city council doesn't have the authority to do what they did by saying, oh, it's okay, we know you're illegal, but we could give you 3 months or 6 months or whatever. If you look at your oath of office, it specifically says there, you've got to uphold the ordinances. You guys didn't. You know, this would have been the perfect time to, you know, cab company start, well, put your signs on, then we'll give you the permit. Simple. So now it's been 2 weeks. They still don't have their signs, but, you know, technically that's fraud by issuing that permit when they're not legal. And issuing a chauffeur's license to a dog, it's cute. It's, you know, you know, it's PR, it's cute, but it's fraud. Because issuing that, you're saying that that dog has a driver's license, that you verified that they're legal to drive and they're legal to have a background check and all that stuff. That's what that chauffeur's license says. So that's fraud. You know, it's like prior, you know, Mr. Grimmer committed fraud by editing the checker cab document that he notarized. You're not supposed to edit it once it's been signed. It's called fraud. And yes, I talked to a lawyer about it. You know, you guys have a chance to make things legal. You know, I've gone on there a couple of times. I'm seriously thinking about, I'm getting tired of doing what I'm doing. I'm seriously thinking about coming in and getting a permit or two. But the problem with that is every time I walk in there and just ask a simple question, usually talking to Brad, he comes unglued and starts screaming at me. I walk in there and just say, you know, my company name is Easy Enterprise. I walk in there and ask, hey, what do I need to put on my stickers? Because I was going to order my stickers and get ahead of the game, get them now, you know, instead of waiting till 3 weeks after I get a permit, because you guys won't issue me a permit unless I'm sure I'm going to have every I dotted and every T crossed before I get one. But he comes unglued, and when he finally calmed down, he said, yeah, it has to be the exact same. Like my business says Easy Enterprises, it's got to say Easy Enterprises on the vehicle. So the Boots and Company, it's got to have the Boots and Company LLC. It's got to be on the side of their vehicle when they do finally get their stickers. They can't just put Boots Cab or whatever. And that's why Checker was illegal. Their business license is Nome Checker Cab Garage Incorporated. And all they ever said on there was Checker. Sometimes some of them said Checker Cab, but you know, that's illegal. Every time I go in there, I went in there again the other day asking about lost my train of thought. Oh, I wanted an inspection form. Oh no, he can't give me an inspection form unless I show proof of insurance and pick up the whole packet. That's like, what? You know, I've gotten an inspection form from Mr. Grimmer before, and I dug through my stack of paperwork that tall at my house, and I found one. So I don't need to get one from you guys, them after all. But you know, stuff like that, when someone comes in and wants something like a application form or inspection form, you know, you should be able to print it out online, I would assume. But I can't walk in and get one without Brad getting upset with me. I agree, I'm not the most lovable guy around. I'm kind of hard-headed and stubborn. You guys all know that. I'm not going to deny it, but you know, I'm a citizen. I'm not behind the counter. The guys behind the counter have to act at it as a professional at a different level and know how to deal with people like me that come in. But anyway, I finally go to court. And the judge decided that rights for donations is too close to a cab company, which I kind of, was a gray area. And I told you guys all that. It's not a gray area no more. It's black and white. I pulled my advertisements back in May. So I haven't even been doing the rights for donation advertisement for the last 2 months because I started thinking about it and okay, enough of this gray stuff. So I did get another ticket the other day, but it's more in the black and white area because it's not a right for donation that I'm running now. Your city manager doesn't like it, like what I'm doing now, and he thinks it's still a taxi or a bus, but it's not in the English language anyway. So we'll see what the judge says this time. I asked her about it during court, and she said no, she's not going to rule on that right now. So that's still up in the air. But anyway, it'd be nice if I could walk in and talk to the city clerk without getting yelled at or talked down to. But right now I'm looking at starting a cab company. I have that. When I was renting, I bought that. I bought a van from Aurorian last week. So I've got 2 vehicles now. Just working on my insurance. I already got the inspection stuff done or on the way to getting done. I found a way to get it done without going to TSR or Farley. Having the Bering Strait Development Shop do it. So I'll be the next one. Maybe I'll be the first legal one unless Boots gets their stickers on. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any further public comments?
I don't think I'm on the agenda.
Yes, you are. We added this afternoon.
Oh.
You're next.
Oh,
Come on.
perfect.
I gave them the comments you sent me
Got here
too, so they'd have them
just
for
in
record.
time. Thank you. I haven't been able to check my email or the updated calendar. Thank you for having me. Good evening. I'm here for keeping everyone in the loop and updates. Some already know, and I just want to keep everybody on the same page all at the same time, like as much as I can. I'm very busy hosting the 4th free access community veterinary clinic this weekend. So my schedule is a little bit more busy than usual, but still responding to calls as they come in, including at 1 o'clock in the morning for somebody who could not sleep after they had flown 17 hours, I believe they said, from Minnesota to come here and visit their grandchildren. And we got that all taken care of. But anyways, still responding to noise complaints and loose dogs. At present, Rural Alaska Animal Resources, RAR, LLC, is contracted to enforce the city's existing animal-related ordinances while providing animal shelter space and shelter management. This allows the city to continue meeting its current responsibilities while we begin evaluating how animal services can best serve the community for years to come. For more than a decade, Paws of Nome has been the community's and the city's most consistent free access source of support for animal welfare, public health, public safety needs. During times when resources have been limited or unavailable, Paws has continued to provide assistance through animal rescue and rehoming, shelter support, veterinary access, public education, and collaboration with the city to address animal-related concerns. And that consistency has provided the community with a reliable resource while demonstrating what can be accomplished through strong local partnerships. As we move forward, our goal is not to replace the city's responsibility, but to strengthen it by building a sustainable partnership that combines municipal authority with the stability, experience, and community support that PAWS has developed over many years. And while RAR fulfills the city's contractual obligations, Paws of Nome is committed to being part of the long-term solution. We believe there is an opportunity to create an animal services model that is sustainable, community supported, and capable of evolving with Nome's needs. Rather than reinventing the department with each change in city leadership, we want to establish a system built on continuity, clear expectations, and long-term planning. One of our first priorities will be a comprehensive review of the city's animal-related ordinances. The goal is not simply to rewrite the ordinances, but to ensure they are clear, enforceable, practical, and reflective of today's community. We want residents who have lived here for many years, families that are relocating to Nome with their pets, and those traveling to and from surrounding villages with companion animals to clearly understand what is expected of them and to have confidence that those expectations will be enforced fairly and consistently. To begin that process, we anticipate hosting a public community meeting in mid-August. The purpose of this meeting is to invite the public to share their experiences, concerns, and recommendations regarding animal care and animal control in Nome. Just as importantly, we want to hear what members of the community believe is already working well so those successes can be preserved. This process will be collaborative, transparent, and open to everyone with an interest in improving animal services. The expected outcome is a community-informed plan that clearly defines the city's public health and public safety goals related to pets and their owners within city limits, while creating a roadmap for the future of municipal animal services. That roadmap should include sustainable operations, consistent enforcement, modern shelter management practices, and access to shelter veterinary medicine as a standard component of municipal animal services. By investing in a stable system today, we can ensure that future city administrations inherit a department with established expectations, reliable community partnerships, and the resources necessary to continue serving Nome effectively. So this is not about creating something entirely new. It's about building on what our community has already established. We're strengthening the partnership between the city and Paws of Nome and creating an animal services program that is consistent, accountable, and sustainable for the long term. It's been 7 years on the beats, and I'm happy to help grow in the direction that, I'm not going to live forever. I want to go and visit my family and take vacations and have a sick day here or there, maybe celebrate a holiday instead of be responding to animal calls on the holiday, every holiday. Anyway, thank you for the opportunity to continue serving the city of Nome. We look forward to working alongside the city council, city administration, as we build stronger and more transparency with the public into the future for animal services. Thank you.
Are there any further public comments at this point? Come up to the podium. Anybody on the phone? All righty. We'll move on then to unfinished business.
Yes, sir. I mentioned to you earlier, Nikki, can you hear us?
Yep.
Nikki?
I can hear you.
Okay. Hey, Nikki, do you want to go over, you do have the table right here. All of you should have it. Nikki, did you want to walk through that, or if there are any questions by council? Do you want to go ahead, Nikki, and just walk through it?
So I put this together based mostly on the general fund contributions to other organizations, providing you F24 actuals, F25 actuals, and F26 actuals as a look back, and then the FY27 budget. In the top section, I started with the legislative department. There are the exceptions for the facility waiver policy that the legislative department covers for 5 organizations. And in FY27, that's budgeted at $28,800. And then in the rec center, I noted in F24, they had an $1,100 donation for the Nome preschool auction. And then their budget in F27 is $4,000. And their budget doesn't just include contributions for facility use. It also includes the celebration of life and other things but these were just focused on events. And then in non-departmental, I provided the totals for those organizations that we normally contribute to each year. And in FY27, that budget is $180,000. So a total budget for FY27 to contributions for other organizations is $212,800.
I do want to add that this does not include in-kind services. I worked on it today, and right now I'm at about 46,000 in in-kind services. For instance, I did a rod committee. Public Works does work, uses machinery, so I'm I am going back and looking at the last year. So right now I'm around, say, just over 40,000 in kind that will contribute. So that puts that up to over 250,000. I'll give you some detail on that next day or two. It hit me yesterday that I need to do in kind.
All right. Does anyone have any further questions about this item?
So combined with the facility waivers, which are non-cash, just letting folks use the various buildings free of charge, plus the actual cash donations, looks like for FY27, we're budgeted for about 213,000.
Yes.
Basically contributions to third-party
Actual
nonprofits.
Contribute, yes.
I don't recall, what was the amount of sales tax revenue that the city could be expected to lose if the proposed pull tabs ordinance takes effect?
At this point, it was about
About 300?
330,000, give or take.
Minus the 60 that we would still.
The 68, like
So that is like a
68,000.
280 or something
Yeah.
difference. Because we won't lose the whole 300. We would not.
No, I understand.
Right, yeah, it was like
Yeah.
280.
So
you
you back
subtracted
back
out, when
280.
you backed out the,
Yeah, 280, 285 somewhere.
still.
And the plan is to have a pull tab. We had several out in the next few days, Councilman. So we're looking next week for a workshop. We have the attorneys, ready to talk about what your next steps are. So before we move past it, I'm looking, today's 27th, so August, next week. Yeah. Is there any evening that works better? Wednesday,
The non-Sunday one?
I can't see that. Yeah, don't jump all at once.
Look at the weather.
Yeah, what is it? Yeah.
It's not bad.
Say the 12th.
No, it's one before this.
Is that?
We're in the 27th right now.
Yeah, but we've got people out.
Yeah, this week.
So
So you're talking about next week, which is a week
What,
of
the
the
5th?
yeah, the 5th.
Wednesday the 5th.
How would that work?
Works for me.
I would be available.
We'll send that out and you can verify tomorrow. Okay. All right.
So is it a realistic assumption that if we do pass the proposed ordinance change with respect to how sales taxes are calculated in pull tabs, that the nonprofits that are benefiting from that proposed ordinance change would basically step in to fund these separate nonprofits to the tune of $213,000? I mean, I'm not asking for any guarantees, but is that sort of the thought process or assumption? Because in the past, there was discussion that the nonprofits would be in a better position to fund these nonprofits that the city is currently funding directly, right here. Did I say something?
No,
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
So unlike the taxes that we use in order to fund these donations, the nonprofits are required by state law to donate all of their proceeds. And they have, in the last meeting, they gave us several letters that were laid down, that wasn't part of the packet, that suggested that they would assist in picking up some of these donations. They didn't pinpoint exactly which ones they're gonna do, but I guess we'd have to make that assumption that if we take it out of our budget and if we want that to be funded,
So the answer is yes.
according to them, to the nonprofits, they said that they would.
So in conjunction with the proposed ordinance change, does it make sense for the city to pass a resolution that basically states, in lieu of this proposed ordinance change, that the city of Nome will no longer be funding directly these third-party nonprofits? Does it make sense to do that?
Mr. Mayor, I think isn't that a budget adjustment? Don't we do it through a budget adjustment to do that? Because it's in the budget now, and maybe this is a Nikki question or city manager question, as far as process.
And I guess my second question is, for all of these non-departmental contributions that we see, the Iditarod Trail Committee, the preschool, Nest, Iron Dog, Nome Winter Sports, Nome Community Center, Checkpoint, Nome Belts Youth Programming, has anybody reached out to these folks to say, hey, look, we're looking at sort of changing how we fund your organizations. Do you support this ordinance change? Because I think I was accused at the last work session that I wanted to keep the money for the city, in terms of the pull tab taxes, and that's not true at all. What I am concerned is that these nonprofits who provide essential services to the community loses their safety net in terms of funding from the city. So I don't want to see Nest and Nome Winter Sports and Checkpoint and all these folks all of a sudden not have funding because the city's expectation is that the nonprofits will now fund these organizations, and something happens and they don't. So that's what I'm really concerned about, is that these nonprofits lose that safety net in terms of funding.
So let's not take it away from them. If we look at how this impacts the city budget, it's only half of an impact this year and the other half next year, since the nonprofit permittees are on a calendar year and the city budget is on a fiscal year. We kind of split that in half, and so we're able to tone it down a little bit slower while it's one calendar year, it's 2 fiscal years for the city budgeting purposes. I wouldn't anticipate that the nonprofits would be able to pick it up automatically right away. It would take them a little bit of time.
So maybe if we do pass the proposed ordinance change, that we make it effective at the beginning of FY 28,
July 1st.
right? Because we've already budgeted in FY 27 for these various nonprofit funding contributions. So that if we do pass the ordinance, we don't need to decide that right now, but that we make it basically match when the city would not be funding it and the nonprofits would pick up those contributions. So there's no overlap.
Right. I don't think it would be appropriate to predict what future councils might choose to fund or not fund.
We're looking at taking away $338,000 in general fund sales tax revenue. I'm just trying to plug the hole, Mr. Mayor.
I understand that
And
that's
to be
your
perfectly
concept,
candid-
but I really kind of disagree with your
That's fine.
characterization.
But I've asked this question probably at least 5 different times, and not once have I gotten a commitment that says we will step in and fund these nonprofits. Not once. When I ask a question, it's usually answered with another question.
Mr. Mayor,
So
who are you expecting to get an answer from?
the folks that are driving this change. I mean, is it not a reasonable question to ask? We're going to lose $338,000 in funding for these nonprofits. I'm just trying to understand where we're gonna fill the gap, and maybe we'll find out at the work session, you know, that we're gonna have here shortly. But nobody has answered that question.
Did you read those letters that they gave us last time?
I did.
And I agree, maybe a work session is what we really need to do to
Yeah.
encompass all these things.
I think overall, right, we haven't gotten any specific commitments and it
We
may
have
be
not.
unfair of them to, certainly these nonprofits that are wanting this additional revenue, it might even be unfair of us to expect them to step in and make these commitments because they have their own priorities and things along that line. And if it ends up being a dollar for dollar wash, that might be challenging to go down that road. I would say it also, by reducing or I say correcting a previous error, because I think in 2008 or whenever this went into effect, maybe it just shouldn't have. But there's also the potential of, if it's more lucrative, maybe other organizations will jump into the poll tab and then they could just get their own money, kind of. You know, there's two potential ways. It's other organizations that currently have poll tabs picking up that slack. Like I say, I think it's challenging, or maybe to expect them to commit to dollar swapping. But there's also the organizations that we do currently give money to could have a poll tab box and they could generate their own money. So I just say, and again, it is a work session kind of where it would be nice to have, it would be great if they came and said, this is what we're willing to commit to. So that way we have some concrete. But I think, I think it's appropriate questions to ask that we.
Nonprofits that currently get funded through direct city contributions, I think they have a right to know. Don't you?
No, I would agree.
We've been talking about it for how long now? In public
We've been talking around
public
it for
meetings.
sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, I
we
mean,
have
so as far as the public knowledge, it seems like, there's
Again.
only a handful of people here.
Again, one of your arguments has consistently been that in exchange for the loss of sales tax revenue with this proposed ordinance change, that the nonprofits will be in a better position to fund what is currently funded through direct city contributions, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
So I'm just asking to clarify that. And maybe it is unfair to ask for commitments from the charities and the nonprofits that are benefiting from this proposed legislation or proposed ordinance change. I don't think so. That's not my opinion. My opinion is that if we're going to give up, and again, I'm starting to sound like a broken record here, but if the city is going to give up $338,000 in sales tax revenue to tax pull tabs differently than any other good and service sold in Nome, maybe we should have some commitments.
I don't agree with you, but as you know that, but that's part of the debate.
I've expected that you
Right.
would, so.
The initially started out with what is the fair tax? And that's how it was started out. And when we went to 6%, that was a 20% increase for poll tabs because it's based on the state's mandated donation of net proceeds. Unlike a for-profit business that can choose to do whatever they want to do with their net proceeds, the state mandates that they have to
It's a cost of
donate those.
You're talking about the prizes awarded, 85%. It's a
It's
straightforward cost of goods
mandated
sold.
prizes. So,
Yeah.
but again, I think it's good that we have a work session coming up, and it's something we should explore all these different angles and different things and try to get answers that everybody feels comfortable with.
Again, I just don't want to see these nonprofits that have come to depend on direct city contributions to fund in large part what they do, like the preschool, like Nest. I don't want to see them lose their sources of funding. That's all. And I think there's a good chance that they might if we pass this ordinance, the proposed ordinance with pull tabs, and there's no commitments on the other side. So I've said enough. Thanks.
Any further comments on item A, unfinished business? All right, we can move on then. New business, item A, Nome Economic Development Plan, beginning on page 67.
Yes. I've given, this is the final plan. There is no financial commitment. There's no by the city. Basically, I'm asking for the council, for the city to adopt this. It's basically a guide. We are bringing our work groups that you see denoted to begin work. As part of that, they will come back with action steps that then will include financial need, those kind of things, volunteers, partnerships. So tonight, I'm asking for council to approve it basically as a guide for us. It does not, let's just say, nail the city down for any funds, or it's going to help us in dealing with the upcoming comprehensive plan, land use plan, our local response plan that's going to be happening. We had a good meeting last week with FEMA about that. So I would ask that that be done tonight so that we can get started, begin organizing our work groups. So this is the next step for implementation.
Anybody have any comments?
Can the city manager clarify what you're looking for?
Are you looking for a motion to accept this plan?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. In order to continue the conversation, the chair will entertain a motion to accept this plan. Or sorry, accept this strategy.
Second.
A second or a motion?
He said it.
Oh, okay. Councilmember Henderson has made the motion, seconded by Councilmember Green. Is there any discussion?
And again, this is just a strategic document. It doesn't bind the city to
Not
making
at
any
all.
investments or going down a certain path. It's basically a strategic advisory, if you will.
That's why I've said it's kind of a blueprint of sorts.
Right, a guide.
It's going to change based on the implementation groups, the work groups, and all that will be coming back to you and the work groups coming back.
Sure.
So it's going to be a busy fall, but I think it's going to be worth it. That's all.
Okay. Personally, I believe this ought to be referred to the Planning Commission for review prior to council accepting it. But that could just be me.
They will be involved in the implementation pieces.
By ordinance, they should be involved. By ordinance, they're involved even deeper already, or should be. And the fact that they are not has given me more than a little bit of heartburn.
They are
Which I
going to be
have expressed that.
I don't think it is appropriate. It is for council to adopt. We talked about this, so we agree to disagree on that. But as far as comprehensive planning, land use planning, absolutely. There's where that partner is. And they're the ones that would be part of the implementation for comprehensive and land use, and then zoning.
All right.
But for a strategic plan, that is done by the whole community, not one group.
Okay, if you look though at the definition of what the Planning Commission is supposed to be reviewing, it's a little more than what you just indicated. It's more than the standard deal because the city's added a few more things to it. But all right, Scott, you had something you
I was
wish
just
to add?
gonna, this is kind of a living document, right? I
It
mean,
is.
It can be changed if the planning commission looks at it and says, oh, we really missed something here, we need to, and we can make amendments, right?
Actually presented to the planning commission at their last meeting, the process, and they were in full agreement.
Okay.
Okay.
So you did it already.
Yeah, I went ahead and did,
You
well,
told me
you
that.
told me go see him, and I did, sir.
All
I did
right.
follow order that time.
Good enough.
I don't have any other questions.
We had good discussion too.
Any, there was a motion and a second on the floor to accept this plan or accept this strategy. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Clerk, may I call a vote?
Councilmember Lusk,
Yes.
Councilmember Green,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
That motion passed.
All righty, motion carries. Nome Economic Development Plan has been accepted by the Nome Common Council.
Thank you, sir.
Next item is the Utility Manager's Report.
Actually, one that was added.
Oh, yeah, that's right. 10 would have been a thoughtful thing for me to have. So the next item on the agenda is B, the school.
Schools? Yes. There she is. Look at that. You're fast. She's having to pack, and I appreciate her coming tonight. You're leaving early in the morning. I'll turn it over to
Sure.
Superintendent.
Well, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to address the council. It's nice to see you all again as we approach the start of a new year, at least for me. So basically, the reason I'm coming to speak to you, the council, is you're aware of the fact that, we have had our challenges in trying to do some physical changes to our old school buildings in order to try to address a lot of the community's concerns about school safety as an issue. So the Department of Justice does have a number of competitive grant opportunities every year. Last year we looked into it. It was actually released earlier last year, and so we really didn't have time to prepare for it, but we were prepared this year. So we are going to apply for one of their, what they call COPS, which is their community opportunities for professional policing services or something, but it's called the SVPP, or the School Violence Prevention Program Grant. And basically they fund different things that have some evidence have been shown to increase school safety. And what we decided, the conversation that we had was, we originally talked about it just simply to look at getting the camera buzzer system that we have been speaking about for the past several years, to at least use that as an alternative funding to obtain that particular equipment. But we also had some conversations about the possibility, and that's why we decided to kind of go all out on this grant, to look into electronic door access controls. So that, for example, the Belts High School campus has a extremely high number of exit doors. Sometimes we find things like they're propped open, that somebody has an old key and they're able to actually access those. We also talked about the challenges that we have faced. So several years ago, we spent a considerable amount of money rekeying our entire system. It is challenging keeping track of keys. We've had staff turnover. We give keys out to vendors that are here doing work, and we have to chase people down to make absolutely sure all of those keys get returned. Otherwise, the reality is that if there's keys floating around in the community, we don't know who literally has access to the doors of our school building. So electronic access system works either with like an app on your phone, that's coded, or just like you go to a hotel and they give you a plastic card and that allows you access to certain areas. And then when you leave, they inactivate it and it doesn't do anything anymore. It's the very, very similar system. However, this does mean obviously we have to upgrade all of the doors, both exterior and interior in the schools. But it's very nice because we can literally program into the system and give somebody a card that gives them very specific access. So classroom teachers can have access to their classroom, they can have access to common areas, they can have access to certain exterior doors. We can program that or turn it off immediately. So if somebody's terminated, their access is done. We don't have to chase people around and try to physically collect keys. However, that is expensive. And so our IT director, Jim Shreve, had said that he is willing to do the time to do the installation. He actually ordered a couple of these from a company to basically kind of do a trial run. He said, send me something to demo. So he's actually put in a couple of them for the IT. They have a couple of IT equipment rooms just to see how they would work. What does the installation look like? What is how well do they work in combination with our internet capability and all of that. Since we've increased our internet bandwidth this year, we believe that we also have the capacity if we need to use those, because some of those we can do a wireless system, but those are dependent upon internet. But also if we need to have if we purchase a system that has like an app or some type of a code on your phone. So the grant does require a 25% match. And so we're still in the process of getting some quotes, the actual full application. So I put the initial application in that basically is kind of like a notice of intent to apply. And then Mr. Shreve and I are working on the actual full grant application. And so he's working with a couple of different companies just to get some quotes to see, get a better handle on what the cost is. We're asking for the maximum, which is $500,000. And if we were awarded less or the kids spent less, then we will need less match as well. With that, we were hoping we will still have some work to do to get the entrances to where we need to be. But we're also having some plans we've got a number of construction companies that are kind of putting a little footprint down here because of all of the work that's happening. We want to reach out to some of those to see if we can break that down to smaller pieces and if they would be willing to kind of donate some of the work. So kind of piecemealing it together as much as we can. But what we're requesting is they require a letter of support. The conversation is, the requirement is, have you basically had consultation with your partners? And for us, the city, of course, is our natural partner, as well as Nome Police Department. We've had quite a few conversations over years. We've had meetings with representatives from NPD. We've met with folks from the state trooper post, just to have conversations about, every year we're focusing on trying to get our school safety plan where it needs to be. But right now, I know that the exterior access is of constant concern. We've implemented the ALICE protocol, and so we're trying to put together what I would call barriers to external threats. And once we have those, then we will continue to work on our internal processes, which is working on internal threats, mental health supports, better access to counselors. We will have 2 full-time counselors at the high school this year instead of 1.5. We are working on partnering with Norton Sound for better integration with behavioral health services. And we are looking at a partnership with COERIC, Nome Public Schools, Berry Strait School District, and the Alaska Association of School Boards for what is called a Promise Neighborhoods grant. And I'm familiar with those. They are 5-year grants, and it's $6 million a year coming into so that's a significant amount of money coming into the community, $30 million coming into those. And that is all focused on any number of areas. They have like 25 areas to work on. And mental health, there's a lot that apply to students from kindergarten, literally from early literacy, from birth all the way to post-secondary is where they want us to work as a team, basically to talk about what kind of services we would provide. So we're doing a lot of work because mental health, and the earlier we can identify kids and support kids and get them access. Ideally, I would like to be able to hire a counselor at the elementary school or a social worker. That's missing. When we had that, we had an individual that was able to do things like anger management groups, grief groups for kids that were dealing with those types of circumstances in their lives to help them develop better coping skills. And the idea, hopefully, is that as they, they get older, come to high school, that they are more healthy and happy adults and mentally healthy as well as physically healthy. That's one of our goals. So this is kind of like a little step forward. It is competitive, so this is not guaranteed, of course. But, and all I'm asking for at this point in time is the letter of support. I realize that the project timeline would likely be next summer because obviously it's due August. It may take 7 months until we get the grant award, and then we still have to identify, do all the purchasing as needed, getting the materials here, and then the idea was to work once school is out to allow that time to go as quickly as possible without impacting school operations. So we do have some time, but because it would basically start in May, I understand that this would be impacting the FY27 budget for the city. And so that's why I wanted to make sure that we have this early and you guys will have the opportunity. The grant does not require a promise of a match in the letter. They're just saying that the city is happy to partner with the school district in matters of school safety and, work with us to fulfill the requirements and the needs of the grant. So that's what the letter of support that I'm asking for at this point in time, it requires. It does not require something stating that you have promised to provide the match. It's just our responsibility to come up with match funding if the grant is awarded. And we'll have an update when it's due. I will have a better handle as I'm working with Mr. Shreve and we get the budget put together. I'll have a better handle on what the actual match and the scope of the work would actually require.
I have used this grant before. It is competitive.
Yes.
So I know there are a lot of people out there fishing, but this is pretty standard letter of support. So.
We do have some, it's, being in rural Alaska, being in what's considered a lowest socioeconomic community and all those type of things does work in our favor.
Yes.
So
Very
we are
much.
hopeful.
How would we fund the match? The 25%? Like, could we get grant funding for that, or would it come out of the general fund?
Well,
or-
initially we'd have to obligate it and we would look at reserve to do that, capital reserve. And obviously we'll apply because we're looking at grants where, and what I do appreciate, I know now the schools, ourselves, we're all sharing grant stuff. That is, awesome. But we're also trying to find grants that can help with this because it's a huge issue.
And we've got some time to kind of.
We
figure
have
that out.
time. Yes, sir.
So you're looking for a resolution or?
Just a
motion for.
motion to
for
support
administration to
and-
draft a letter. of support.
yes.
I'll make that motion.
All right, motion by Councilmember Henderson to approve a letter of support for
I'll second.
school, seconded by Councilmember Green. Is there any further discussion?
I would just add that if we go down this road finding the $150,000, if the school is doing any sort of, do you think the school has the resources available if it comes in more than the 500,000? Do you see that the city's max contribution on this would be the 150, or do you
Yes.
see potentially coming back, or do you think you could
Because our
internally
goal
take
is
care of that?
if we, once we really get, like I said, into the nitty gritty, which will be over the next couple of weeks of that, the conversation is if we have the ability to scale back the project. And really talk about, like being a lot more choosy about which doors we would put the system on, et cetera. I mean, we absolutely want the front door, the entry access systems. That is the number one priority. And then everything that we can, basically anything that we're able to get. So we have all the information, when we did the rekeying project, we literally have a list of every single door in the district. And so we can if we need to, we can go back and prioritize. So of course, the priority would always be classrooms. Because again, that would give us the opportunity, like if we needed to go into a school-wide lockdown for some reason, we could literally do that instantly. Teachers wouldn't have to scramble about, trying to find a key and, it's like trying to, open the door if they're worried about, somebody actively in the building. They wouldn't have that. They would literally just, somebody have to type a computer command and all the doors would immediately lock down, exterior and interior. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but like I said, we would scale the project depending on a combination of what the initial grant looks like or the actual grant award, because they might choose to say, I'll give you an award, but we're going to scale it down. We're only going to give you X dollars. And at that point in time, we would literally scale the project back if we needed to. The school, we are expecting some one-time grant funding from the state. I don't know if you've been following everything that's been happening towards the end of the year. However, the deed has stated that they won't even tell us how much it's going to be until the end of August. So we don't know. So it's a combination of the one-time funding and some of it is also earmarked specifically. It's supposed to be used for energy costs, which we don't know what our energy cost is yet either, because we're all in the same boat. We're waiting for the fuel barge to land and see how much everything's going to cost at that point. So we don't know exactly how much money will be potentially flexible and available for the school. We're also looking at, we've been literally, if you will, kind of deficit spending. We'd like to be able to use less of our fund balance as well for this coming school year. Our budget is continuing to evolve as we start to hire teachers and we look at that first budget revision as we see how much do people cost. Literally, that's the huge challenge with our first budget revision. So, like I said, we will continue to see, if we have the additional funds that we can do in-house, we would like to start to utilize that towards the other construction needs that we would need, the actual physical remodeling, upgrading the doors and the hardware, and some of that to get those front entrances to the point where it's an actual secure situation. We can do that faster at the elementary school, but the high school is going to require some construction to put in the second set of doors inside the school building.
So 150 rather than 125?
Well, we just kind of, we just said, okay, so originally I said 500,000, what's the match? 125. But then they said, okay, well, that means that, are you going to ask for 375? And that changes this. So we could literally, and they said, okay, if you're asking for 500, then 100, then 125 match, is your cost 725. So I had to wiggle with the numbers a little bit. So basically, we're asking for them to fund $350,000, 150,000 match, which is a little more than the 25, but that gives us a $500,000 match. And by the time, like I said, we get to the actual end, when we actually put the budget together, we'll have more specific details that we would share with you as well. We got a couple of weeks to get all those numbers, put the budget together in its entirety. This is just a rough estimate to start with.
So you're actually submitting a proposal that would be greater than the 25% match.
Yeah, well, we're asking them to fund $350,000. If we get the match of 150 from the city, which is a little more than 25, but like I said, until we get a better handle on what the actual scope of the project is going to be, because we have to not only is the equipment, but we have to cover like Mr. Shreve's actual time, because he has contract and this would likely end up running outside of his contract days for him to do it. And so he's doing a lot of practice because he has to see some of the doors would be easier to do, and some of the doors would be a little bit more. So he has to look at them and say, okay, is it an hour and a half or 3 hours for this door? So like I said, there's a little time and work. We need to look at whether we're going to go with wired or wireless, and there's additional time and access points, lots of things that we're still kind of putting together. Well, it'll come together before the deadline. But, we literally had to put in something that says, hey, we want to apply, and I had to at least check a number in there. So, it may come out closer to $300,000 total, in which case, like I said, we still have to have a 25% match. But that might end up being, less for us to ask for the city. So that's why I said I will keep you updated as we get that number actually more finalized. That's why we're only asking for the letter of support and not necessarily a commitment to the 150,000 at this point.
Since we're talking about the city and special projects, and maybe this could be a concurrence from Nikki, is there funds left over from a reimbursement from the state from previous projects that we funded?
Yeah, that would be a question for Nikki, because anything that we do we basically return to the city. Yeah, we haven't kept any of the things that when the city funds things and the project is done, anything that remains is returned to the city.
Do you concur with that, Nikki?
Yes, you have funds left in the school bond checking account that could fund a match for this project.
And those funds are not committed for anything right now.
No, you had previously committed funds towards the security project and then weren't able to move forward, so you would be utilizing those same funds.
That's how I saw it.
Okay, is there any further questions or discussion on the motion? No. All right, clerk, may call the vote, please?
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Lusk.
Yes.
Councilmember Green.
Yes.
All right, motion for letter of support
I want to
carries.
thank the schools, Mr. Mayor, for this partnership and working on grants. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Safe travels.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next item on the agenda would be the utility manager's report.
Good evening. Ken Morton, Nome Utilities. This will be a bit of a group effort. me and the team over here, but I'm here to talk about projects. That's my focus at the utility. We have a USDA funded high energy cost grant, $2.9 million that we are using to install exhaust gas boiler units on our primary Wärtsilä generators. So of course, you know, with the diesel, you got about a third of your energy goes up the stack. This will harness part of that energy and we will make it some additional energy out of it using some nifty magic boxes. You've got the hot on that side, you got the cold from the water supply. And from that, we'll get a power stream of about 170 kW without burning any additional fuel. The project is one boiler in place. Team is going to wrap that up and get that generator operational within about a week or so. Take a week off, come back, and then install the boiler for the second generator, and then commission the project by early fall. Mr.
Any
Anderson.
projections on how fewer gallons of diesel you'll burn on an annual basis because of this project?
Yes, and that's written in the proposal.
Got it.
Yes, but the answer is yes, there is a projection.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I didn't know if it was significant or, you know.
So it's not going to be significant overall. You figure real time, we're doing about 3,700 kilowatt hours or kilowatts year round annual. This is going to be 170. So it will diminish that some, but it's not going to change anything significantly. So up on Windmill Hill or Banner Ridge, probably noticed that there's some cranes up there. A while back, we had a relatively significant failure of the southernmost turbine. Went to our insurance company. The insurance company said, yes, this is an insurable event. And we're paying the deductible, of course, but the rest of that is being paid for by the insurance company. A substantial part of that cost is the crane work. That's half the cost, honestly, of doing the turbine repair. So at the same time, we have a really good opportunity to rehabilitate or modernize the other two, or modernize the two units that we have. So we're using that inexpensive crane that's up there and a little bit of coin, and we are going to have essentially two brand new turbines that will be operational here by the end of the weekend, which is going to be pretty exciting. Let's see. We also have a community microgrid assistance program grant of about $400,000, CMAP. And with that, we're going to help. Well, let's back up here. Our power plant's coming on 20 years old, right? We call it the new power plant, and 30 years, it's still going to be the new power plant, but it's 20 years old. The switch gear in it is substantially original. When those components, which are electronic, go dark, you cannot get new ones off the shelf. We've got a couple off eBay in the past, but we're using this funding source as an opportunity to modernize the switch gear components, update some programming. Completely behind the scenes, but it'll improve operations. What else we got? On the DOT coordination side, the Sepulveda Drive project. DOT's schedule shows that they are looking to advertise it in August with construction in 2027. It's going to be from the airport to the gas station there at Bering and Sepulveda. So we're using this as an opportunity to replace the water line between, say, West East Street and Bering. Same as what we did on the Bering Street project maybe 5-6 years ago. That's the bulk of that. DOT has a Center Creek Road project that they're going to advertise in January, their schedule shows. We need to relocate utilities in a couple of different locations to get out of the way of their project. So we're going to be working on that for DOT. And 2028, they're planning at this point the repaving of Front Street, and we will replace the water main in that between Bering and Stedman, and probably the sewer as well, depending on how the coinage works out. Good projects. On the water system, wastewater system, the front end lift station is substantially designed, and we are planning to advertise that for bids this fall for construction in 2027. This is a joint project funding wise between the utility and Norton Sound Health Corporation. So a real good project. Any questions about this or anything else project related?
Where's that the last one you just mentioned about the lift station? Where is that at?
Front and end.
Front and end.
The lift station that's there was installed in 1984. It's a 4-foot diameter wet well that's very deep. And the bit of humor I imparted in my application to DEC is that our people no longer fit in that space, which is rude, but perhaps true. Fuel, I suppose it's worth talking about fuel. We are looking to procure 2 million gallons of fuel. We won't quite top off the tanks. Actually, we won't top off the tanks. The price of fuel for the utility is established by the average of the month of loading, which will be August. So we don't know what the price of fuel will be, but we are budgeting at, maybe $4.30 a gallon is what we're talking to our finance folks about for the size of the note that we will be asking for. This is always when I look at across and I go, I wonder who else might have some insights. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Sir?
Good luck with August for sure. Hopefully.
Yeah.
That's a good month.
Always, generally always is.
Good. Maybe this is a John question or a chairman
Sir?
from the NGUS board question. I don't know, but I'll ask you because you're standing there. I love listening to the meetings, right, on KNOM or watching. I learn a lot, and I think a lot of other people in the community do too. So I watched the NJUS board meeting the other day, and it's kind of hard to hear, and I'm not sure, but I think it's maybe because of the proximity of the generators to the sound, the loudspeaker, or the microphones or whatever. And I know KNOM's tried to fix that in various ways, however he does that. Would the, and I don't expect you to commit to anything or even answer, but would the NJUS board be willing so people can hear better, be willing to hold their board meetings here in council chambers so basically people watching it can hear it? Because I'm hard of hearing, but it's, that interference or whatever is pretty loud. And I don't know if, Ben wants to add to that or explain it, but it's pretty challenging to hear some of the comments during those meetings. So I guess that would be my request. Is that something the NJUS board would be willing to consider?
So obviously I'm not on the NJUS board.
That's why I've had all kinds
Right.
of exceptions in there. Yes.
So, historically, of course, the meetings were in these chambers.
They were here.
And we did have some scheduling conflicts. That has happened in the past. So
Sure.
it was
I'm sorry.
deemed simpler, I believe, at that point to go to a place with more freedom of space. Certainly generator 16, when it's going, that is a complication. When we do have the flexibility, we like to shift operation to the other side. That's the one has the exhaust gas boiler project, so that really wasn't an option. But I will certainly bring this up at the next meeting.
Would you anticipate any conflicts?
We can make it work. Let's look at the annual calendar and
We don't have any
schedule.
other meetings scheduled when?
We can work that out. Be glad to offer.
I believe this request came up maybe a year or two ago, but I don't believe we ever really got an answer to it. Because I remember it coming up under discussion especially when KNOM hooked up this new thing to have better access for the community.
Okay.
So, appreciate you bringing it to the.
Do you anticipate that this issue can be that background noise with the generator?
I've taken it as far as I can. There's a lot of software stuff happening to try to filter out certain frequencies, but there's only so much I can do when it's garbage in. You get a lot of garbage out. So I would welcome a quieter environment.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
One more question.
Sure.
Drainage. How was drainage this year? Seemed like it wasn't as bad. Is there plans for future drainage projects where people's yards were flooding and stuff like that? And I didn't hear it this year, but I mean, for many years in a row, we had people come to the podium and mention about drainage issues. And that I know it's a citywide big project. That's why I'm asking the question.
So the utility does not have a drainage specific project under development. Our focus is water, sewer, and power. Certainly, if we have a project and people want to add elements within that, we'll certainly do what we can to accommodate that.
Right now in the city, we're jetting. We did this weekend. There's several. What we're doing is we prioritize the worst. We found some 24-inch that literally, when the winter comes, the mud freezes, good luck. So it was 20% was open. So we've been cleaning those out, but we prioritize and moving around the worst. East side had a lot of problems, so we're working our way through. Feel good about what they're doing. Chris and Cole met with Dan and I this morning, or Chris, and updated us on the jetting, open up of some great things that needed to be replaced. Say it again. Oh, yeah. We're having on the vac truck, where you'd go out and vacuum these things out. It's hit or miss. And I think you guys, I believe don't you have a couple of them too?
The one that you're using came from the utility.
Yeah. Yeah, and we jet some and then
It works sometimes.
it works sometimes. That's something we're gonna have a better piece of equipment on, because right now we're utilizing and standing there with wrenches, when the thing breaks. But, yeah.
So this is a joint effort?
No, this is city.
It is a city, so it's a better question for the city.
Yeah. But I will also say we're looking to do, I would like to see a drainage plan. We've got some major drainage issues. I mean, we've got pipes that are, totally full. They're not working. Well, you're required to that's why I want to applaud you guys for working on your infrastructure when the roads come up. And you can do it then. It is inevitable. In my past, people would go in the state, whomever, county or city, pave, and sure as the world they had to go and cut a piece out, because of something we had forgotten. And then there's always that kaboom, and it never goes away. So I applaud you guys for proactive planning on doing it. That's awesome, particularly on front.
Nome's done that once or twice.
Yeah. But anyway, I'll be glad that I can put some more detail together and have Chris and Cole here at the next meeting. Might be good for you to hear where we are. We'll do that.
Thank you, Mr. Martin.
Ken, the Kiewit Workforce Camp, the installation of power and sewer is going okay? Do we know when that's going to actually come online, or when they're going to be inhabiting that? Or is the utilities done what they needed to do to get them prepped?
The utility has done what it needed to be done on the utilities part. I know that they're close. I don't have a specific date though.
They have come to us and asked about a
Temporary
certificate so they can feel 50% of it running or operating. So they have asked about that. So we're working with inspections and them right now to move it faster for half of that facility. So.
One more. Just one. Has the utilities done any projections in terms of with all of the development with Kiewit and all the new buildings and everything else? Have they done any kind of financial projections? I'm not even going to use the term budget, but to see like how much more revenue that the utilities will be generating as a result of all of this development, the man camps, the new buildings. I mean, because it seems like every time I turn around, there's another new building going up and power and everything else. Is there any idea on how much that's increasing the utility revenues?
So the answer is no. We could give that some thought. I would point out though that the utility rates haven't changed since about 2015. And if you can find another utility in Alaska that can make that claim, then.
That wasn't a criticism.
Right.
Just so, I mean, and the reason I ask is that I assume utilities, the more revenue they can generate with more users, more purchasers of power, the lower the cost can be for everybody. Does the utilities work that way?
Sure. And I think it's safe to say that the electrical department carries the brunt of the load. But yes.
Okay.
We're glad you're here. We've missed you. I mean, all the utilities report. It's good to hear.
And you've missed us, right?
A little bit.
Hello.
Thank you.
Glad you got all the questions out of the way before I give my report. Thomas, Field Operations Superintendent for your Nome Joint Utility System. I gave you the laydown report, and I'll read from it for the public that will be listening online. Overall, NJUS had a productive and successful June and July. Our utility system remained reliable while staff balanced routine operations, preventative maintenance, regulatory compliance, emergency response, and several ongoing capital improvement projects. Throughout the reporting period, we continued providing safe and reliable electric, water, and wastewater services to the community while making meaningful progress on projects that will improve long-term system reliability. From a regulatory standpoint, NJUS remained in good standing. We coordinated our routine laboratory testing under the revised total coliform rule with no coliform bacteria detected. We also completed our annual customer confidence report, which was accepted by ADEC and confirmed that our drinking water system had no violations during the reporting year. Additionally, NJUS completed its annual power plant compliance review, confirming that our permit requirements, monitoring schedules, and reporting obligations continue to remain on track and in compliance. Staff across all operational departments also completed annual HAZWOPER refresher training to maintain safety certifications and emergency response readiness. At the power plant, several significant maintenance projects were completed. As Ken mentioned, Generator 15 successfully returned to service following its major overhaul before being temporarily removed again to continue work on the USDA heat recovery project. Generator 12 was returned to service following replacement of leaking coolant piping, and Generator 16 underwent reactive maintenance that was completed without impacting overall system reliability. We were also pleased to return wind turbine 2 to operation, allowing increased renewable generation and reducing diesel fuel consumption during summer month. In addition, our required 5 months external bulk fuel tank inspection have begun, and we continue to move forward with several other grant-funded energy projects. Within the water and wastewater department, crews completed annual hydrant flushing throughout the community and continued expanding our preventative sewer main jetting program, which has now progressed from the west side of town to the east side. We're also done with Martinsonville and Icy View and FAA airport side. We completed important improvements both at the Snake River and Belts pump houses with minimal service interruption and responded to customer emergencies as needed. We also received very encouraging preliminary results from our required triennial sanitary survey. While the final report is still pending, inspectors found that the drinking water system is in very good condition with no deficiencies identified. Our line crew has remained busy during the reporting period. In addition to supporting several new service extensions and ongoing fiber coordination projects, crews assisted Fastwire with a comprehensive pole attachment and infrastructure survey that should improve coordination between organizations going forward. They also responded to an emergency outage at the Swanberg Dredge after a third-party damaged utility infrastructure, restoring power to approximately 65 customers. Later in the reporting period, crews completed the planned City 2 feeder outage ahead of schedule to prepare for energization of the Kiewit workforce camp. They also replaced a leaking transformer downtown before it could create a larger reliability issue. Looking ahead, we continue advancing several important projects, including, as Ken mentioned, the heat recovery project, still working with the battery energy storage system, and other initiatives. I want to close by recognizing our employees. Throughout a very busy summer construction season, they've continued balancing daily operations with emergency response, preventative maintenance, regulatory compliance, and capital improvements. Their professionalism and dedication allows NJUS to continue providing reliable utility service while making significant progress on projects that will benefit our community well into the future. Thank you.
One question, and again, correct me if I'm wrong. City owns the landfill, but the utilities do contract for the trash clean pickup. That's a utility function.
Chris, our CFO, is here, and she could probably answer that question. But in general, NJUS works as a vehicle to collect the revenue for Alaska Waste.
The city has the contract.
The city
just collect. We just do their billing.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. So do we ever review the contract with them, or does it ever come up for renewal, or are they just on an ongoing? Okay. Sorry.
It's on our list for this fall to review. So I'm looking at RFPs for all contracts potentially. So it's being reviewed.
So I got a quick little water story since you're talking about waters and how blessed we are to have the water system we have and the utilities for a small town to have this. But we had a couple of nephews up visiting us from Anchorage. They're teenagers, and we're having dinner, and I said, "What'd you like to drink?" "Oh, just some water." I said, "Okay, there's some cups up there. Just go get it from the faucet." They both looked at me dumbfoundedly, like, "What?" Says, "You just go pour water out of the faucet." And then I said, "Have you not drank water out of the faucet before?" "Never." They said, "It's only out of the refrigerator through a filtered system or boiled or something." And so that really came to mind of how lucky we are to have the system we do have.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So they drink water out of the faucet for their first time in their lives.
Good. How's your staffing? Are you at full staffing? Do you have any major vacancy?
The line crew is always looking for apprentices, and we are looking actively at mechanics for our power plant. We are 1 or 2 mechanics short to be comfortable, really comfortable. We're the scheduling is good, but we could definitely need 1 or 2 more mechanics. So otherwise, we're golden. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Chris Kaufman. I'm the CFO at NJUS. I figured I'd give you guys a little update on our audit situation. 21 is done and complete. 22, 23, and 24 auditors have in their hands. They came up the week of July 13th. Did their field audit, so we're waiting back to hear what they need for samples. Got pretty much most of all of 22 samples in and most of 23. So I'm assuming soon we'll have most of 24 samples in. Let's see. Didn't come with the budget. Sorry, my main priority is to get these audits done. We're working with Drew with North Rim for the fuel loan, and also reached out to Birch Horton for a RAN revenue anticipation note. PCE is current and filings. We had Steve up here. We went through all of our AR, sent 30 people to collections. We've had long overdue accounts, so we've been collecting on that. Let's see, I can't think of anything else. So if you guys have questions.
Thank you for coming, by the way. Do you anticipate the FY22 through 24 audits to be completed and released all at the same time
They do, yes.
in a batch? Or
Yep,
whatever?
yep, and then we'll concentrate on 25. 25 is pretty much ready to rock and roll.
Good.
Once I get 24's completed numbers in, then I will give them 25, and then we'll start the process all over again.
And you don't anticipate any problems with getting the financing, the tax exempt?
I
No,
don't.
I'm sure. It's tax exempt?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any.
Awesome. That's great. Last question. What does the NJUS Finance Department look like? I mean, is that you?
That's me and
Okay.
Tony
You-
Barron.
Okay.
Well, it's actually a full team. We have Stacy down at customer service. She takes all of the payments.
Okay.
Tony takes care of AP, and I come in and reconcile and tie everything out and
Is
do
that
the
large
bow.
enough? Is that enough?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Just, I think they were short-staffed for a while, and then it was behind. So when I got here, I have 2.5 years to complete and then keep current. So it's like 5 years and 2 years, 2.5 years.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it feels good. Feels good to finally get it out of here.
That's all I've got.
That's another Nikki question. If you don't mind. Yeah. So, hey, Nikki, when the city's having their audit, what time frame is it that they look for the utility audit? When's that time frame?
They usually start looking when we do our audit field work in November, and then continue to ask until we start to issue.
Which is generally when?
We like to issue in January of each year, but lately, it's been March.
So I guess the next question is for 2025 is we'll be able to shoot for.
I can't remember what BDO's schedule was for our 25 off the top of my head. I want to say September, because once we get done with the 24, it's their busy season because of the summer ends. And then they'll get back to us because we're year end. So, so I want to say it was September. I could be wrong. I'd have to look. We have a schedule and an outline. I'd have to look at that again for a correct date.
So it sounds like there might be possibility you'll be back on track by this audit season.
That's my hope.
So every year I ask the auditors when we get our audit report, does it make sense? Because, both Nome Public Schools and NJUS are both legal subdivisions of the city of Nome, understanding they have different, fiscal year ends. Does it make sense from a CFO's perspective? Does it make sense to have the same auditor for all three entities? Because in my mind, it kind of does. Just, okay, if you've got one auditor, one, CPA firm that's auditing all three entities, and they can kind of coordinate everything. They understand the expectations and the timelines of the different entities instead of this sort of disconnect between so I'm just curious if you think there would be any advantages to one auditor putting out RFPs for audits, or that we do it on a consolidated basis.
seem like the workflow would be a little bit easier that way, but I don't know what the controls are in place for that. I don't know what's the controls in place.
What would it take to kind of look at that to see if it does make sense? What would need to be done or researched or?
No, well, let me get with Nikki and the other CFOs and we can talk about that and see. But we'll go ahead and put that on. Nikki, if you heard me on her agenda, to talk to the other CFOs.
Yeah.
Yourself, Genevieve, and let's talk about it.
Can I make another little public statement?
Absolutely.
Okay, just from Facebook. If anybody has any questions regarding their bills, feel free to reach out. I can sit down with you, go over everything, but like some of this stuff on Facebook is not truthful and it's just adding to all the issues. So if you have an issue with your bill, please feel free to reach out to us because we can nip all that in the bud real quick.
As a fuel guy, I can have it.
Okay.
No, and I think it's admirable to point out what Ken mentioned. What's it, 2015? The last rate increase?
Mhm. And,
That's almost unheard of.
and we do
You know,
have,
so I think it's worthwhile to mention that
And we
frankly,
have
I don't know how
hired
you guys
some-
have done that, to be honest.
we have hired somebody, Travis, to help us with projections for upcoming years for rate increase, maybe, or stay the same. I'm not sure, but he is going to.
So we're going to be
and
doing
help out
like a
with some
rate
projections.
study or something like that?
Correct, rate study.
Once we're caught up.
Yeah, that was important, is let's just get all the audits done and get real time, and then we can go from there. And maybe a budget.
I may be wrong, but they may partially be able to accomplish that by having fuel surcharge line items.
Well, it's still there,
I mean,
we just buried it. I mean, there's still two separate line items, they just get added together. Because our fuel surcharge did go down like 2%.
From last year.
For last year.
That's your flexibility then instead of having to go back to rates.
That's how you
Correct.
set the rates, so-
Just the ability to use the fuel surcharge line item to,
Yeah, but still
Okay,
water and
adjusted.
sewer hasn't been increased.
water and sewer hasn't been increased since
Mm-mm.
15 either.
And garbage, you asked about the garbage, they send us quarterly RCA changes. So we change that quarterly whenever they send us their new rate study, or their rates.
And you retain a percentage or a fee to basically do the billing, because that's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of phone calls and it's a lot of work
A lot of
sometimes.
maintenance. Yeah.
Some days it's not, I feel it's a lot. Yeah.
We appreciate that, like,
And those new landfill rates have already taken effect, right?
They'll be on
Passed
this
through
month's
the-
billing.
Oh, okay.
This
Yeah.
coming, yeah,
So customers will notice that in their bills
yes,
this month.
Yeah, because it doubled, right?
$12.
From 12.5 to
12.50
25.
to 25, right?
I think it's the first increase in, what did you say, 30 years? Long time.
So, okay,
I'm out of questions, thank you.
all right.
Appreciate it.
Gotta go. All right, next item, city manager's report.
Yeah, I don't really have anything. I inundated you at the last meeting. I do want to mention a couple of things. We do have an executive session on a legal matter and personnel in a little bit. I do not expect any action afterwards. So for guests, and for the media, you don't have to stay. Okay, so it's up to you and if you like us that much. The other is we do have August 25th through the 28th, the Summer Legislative Conference in Fairbanks. And if you're interested in going, would like to go ahead and get that in. So if you'll let us know this week, I'd like to go ahead and get people signed up if you want to go to the summer conference for councilmen. That's all I have right now.
All right, and we'll move on to the next segment of citizens' comments.
Brad Sosky. Two quick comments. One as a resident and one as a team member here at the city. As a resident, I'd just like to say, as a dog lover. A lot of people know how much I love dogs around here. I'm glad to have Emily back on board. And as a quick comment, as my position, I have learned more working under Dan in his short time here than I've learned probably my 3 previous years. We are always learning new things, and I just have to say that I appreciate Dan and all he does for my growth within our organization here. So that is all. Thank you.
Thomas, NJUS again. As I heard the discussion about the raised trash fee, I've been out of the loop a little bit, in and out of the country, and I've just completely missed that portion of changes in our community. And it would be maybe helpful if the city would somehow do some kind of awareness campaign that this is going to be shown on your utility bill. Because I can foresee that we will get a lot of calls with angry people complaining to NJUS when it's, as I understand it, out of our hands. So I guess I ask for your guys' help to make people aware.
We can get something on all of our systems. Sure.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Do you have any place on the NGUS invoices for like comments or notes
Yes.
saying, hey, please note?
Yes.
I mean, can you put something in there and basically say that the landfill?
Yes. I will.
We can,
You
I can give you some
Don't
verbiage.
call us, call the city.
Yeah, I saw that comment. I'll send you something.
Ken, what's your cell number?
We help each other out, I guess,
Always.
with the comments.
All right, if there's no more citizens' comments, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, mayor's comments and report. No comments, so we'll move on to council members' comments. Who would you like first, Dan?
Councilmember Green.
I'd like to say it's awesome to see that we have so many people from Nome Joint here. It's been pretty nice to see. There's been a lot of questions and a lot of information spread. So thank you guys for showing up. That's all I have.
Councilmember Lust.
Looking forward to continued discussions on poll tabs. And I guess for my part, my questions more surrounding garbage and the fees are the extra fees that we're charging citizens for extra bags of trash and things. And I remember way back in the day when it was Anderson Services, it was just a flat fee. You could have everything out there. And it doesn't seem like the city or anybody's getting much in return for all the extra bag fees. I'm curious to see what those actually amount to and things along that line. And then I was excited to see us with the letter of support for Nome Public Schools for that long-standing project on the entry door upgrades. I think it's a long time coming and they've got a lot of work to do on that to get it to where it needs to be, but it's good to see some movement. And thanks to everybody listening online and those that came in person today. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilmember Lust.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yeah, great update from the utilities in terms of finance and operation and projects. And so that was really nice. I appreciate that. And also look forward to the next work session on the pull tab issue. And again, my questions are focused on, the impact to the budget, and it's like, what's the old expression? For every action, there's an opposite reaction or something like that. And that's true with the budget. When you take away, revenue, there's got to be either additional revenue to substitute it or an equal, reduction in expenses. And that's all I'm trying to do with my questions on this issue is trying to get an understanding of if we remove $336,000 from our revenue side, how are we going to replace that? So that's literally why I keep asking this question. And so, but other than that, this great meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Anderson.
Councilmember Johnson.
Just to clarify, that work session is going to be when?
Looking at the 5th, next Wednesday, the 5th.
And would you be able to get notice out to the different charities?
Sure.
And maybe some of the nonprofits
Oh, thank you.
that might be interested in this meeting, so we can
Yes,
have a good input from them as well?
we can do that.
So what time was that gonna be?
6 o'clock. Does that work? I don't
I'm
know.
gonna be traveling, but
Okay.
that might be a good thing.
Are you Zooming? Oh.
No, I'm not asking.
No conspiracy.
I may be able to attend, I just have to look at my schedule
Electronic.
to see, but I'm traveling that week.
Okay,
Don't reschedule anything.
gotcha.
And I just echo, it's good to get good reports from the utilities. Over the years, they've been very good at doing that as well. Both John and Ken and Mr. Simonson. So appreciate that resurgence again. And again, to echo that the possibility of moving those meetings over to the city hall, I think would be beneficial for the community and for the utilities, I believe, by having more community input on that. That's all I had. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Johnson.
Make a motion to go in executive session. Are we there?
I believe so, for,
For legal matters and for personnel matters.
all right, there's a motion to recess into executive session. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right. Motion and a second to take a 5-minute break while we recess into executive session.
Yes, sir.
All those in favor, say aye. Or sorry,
Roll call.
roll call. Jeez.
Councilmember Green.
Yes.
Councilmember Lust.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
All righty.